From Pompeii's ash-covered streets to Göbekli Tepe's forgotten stone circles, these ancient sites reveal secrets that once shaped entire civilizations. Here are the oldest archaeological discoveries, each filled with powerful stories and jaw-dropping facts. What if the first masterpiece wasn't painted on canvas, but on stone? Hidden for 17,000 years, deep inside a French hillside, lies an underground art gallery so vivid, so precise. It looks like it was drawn last week, and it was found not by scholars, but by a group of teenage boys. On a quiet September afternoon in 1940, 4 boys stumbled upon what looked like just a hole in the ground near the village of Montignac, France. With curious minds, they climbed inside, and what they found still shocks the world today. They had just uncovered the entrance to Lascaux Cave, a hidden chamber filled with hundreds of prehistoric animal paintings, wild horses, giant aurochs, deer, all painted with stunning detail. All 17,000 years ago. These weren't just doodles. The art was vivid, deliberate, and sophisticated. It was a glimpse into the minds of early humans who lived in the Upper Paleolithic period. The word of the discovery spread like wildfire. Within days, experts were swarming to the cave. Leading the charge was Father Henri Breuil, a legendary prehistorian who recognized the cave's true value, that it wasn't just ancient art. It was evidence of a forgotten human genius. The Lascaux paintings shattered old beliefs about Stone Age people. They weren't mindless hunters. They were storytellers, visionaries, and artists, capturing motion, spirit, and myth with jaw-dropping skills. Suddenly, the prehistoric past wasn't silent anymore. It was speaking in color. Today, the original Lascaux cave is closed to protect its fragile masterpieces from light, humidity, and even human breath. But thanks to incredible replicas like Lascaux 2 and 4, we can still step into that ancient world, nearly brushstroke for brushstroke. This was more than a discovery. It was as if the Stone Age had signed its name across time and we had finally learned how to read it. Imagine unlocking a language no one had read in over 1,500 years, just because one stone said the same thing 3 times. The Rosetta Stone didn't just teach us Egyptian, it reconnected us to an entire lost civilization. Near the town of Rosetta, a French officer named Pierre-François Bouchard was supervising construction at Fort Julian when his men stumbled on a strange black slab buried in the rubble. It was carved with 3 different scripts: Greek, Demotic, and the one no one could read, Egyptian hieroglyphs. At first, it looked like just another artifact, but when the scholars realized the Greek portion matched the others, the truth hit hard. This was the ancient world's version of Google Translate. Bouchard knew instantly it was important. He sent it to Napoleon's Institut de Fipte, a team of scientists, historians, and linguists brought along to document Egypt's ancient wonders. But here's where it gets dramatic. After France's defeat, the British took the stone under the Treaty of Alexandria in 1801 and shipped it straight to the British Museum, where it still draws millions of visitors today. Of course, no film exists of 1799 Fort Julian, but the pictures of stone in the British Museum are easily available. But the real hero of the story? Jean-François Champollion, who became obsessed with the mystery of the hieroglyphs and spent years comparing the Rosetta Stone's scripts. Finally, in 1822, he cracked it. He realized hieroglyphs weren't just symbolic art. They represented actual sounds, like an alphabet. This breakthrough didn't just translate one stone, it opened the floodgates to everything ancient Egyptians had written. Without the Rosetta Stone, we might still be staring blankly at temple walls, guessing at meaning. A city frozen in time. People turned to stone, dogs mid-run, bread still in ovens. In 1599, architect Domenico Fontana, digging near Naples, struck strange painted walls. He didn't know it then, but he'd touched the edge of ancient Pompeii, buried since Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD. It wasn't until the 1700s that archaeologists returned and realized the truth. Entire Roman homes preserved, mosaics still colorful, and haunting plaster casts of victims sealed in ash. Led by pioneers like Giuseppe Fiorelli, Pompeii became the birthplace of modern archaeology, showing the world how to read ancient cities like living stories. This wasn't just a dig, it was a city brought back to life. Just before World War II, a British widow hired a local digger to explore some odd mounds on her land. What they found wasn't just dirt, it was a buried ship filled with treasure and mystery. In 1939, amateur archaeologist Basil Brown, working on Edith Pretty's Suffolk estate, unearthed the outline of a massive wooden ship, 82 feet long, perfectly preserved in the sand. Inside, gold, weapons, silver bowls, and a stunning iron helmet, proof of a royal Anglo-Saxon burial from the 7th century. Sutton Hoo shattered the idea that the Dark Ages were uncivilized. It revealed a world of elite rulers, skilled craftsmen, and forgotten kings. One curious dig, and England's ancient past came roaring back to life. Buried for nearly 2,000 years, discovered by accident, the Dead Sea Scrolls shook the foundations of modern religion. In 1947, a young Bedouin shepherd chasing a goat near the Dead Sea stumbled into a cave and into history. Inside sealed clay jars were ancient scrolls, dusty and forgotten. At first, no one understood their value, but when Israeli archaeologist Eliezer Sukenik examined them, he was stunned. These were 2,000-year-old texts, including some of the earliest known versions of the Hebrew Bible. Among them, the nearly complete Great Isaiah scroll was almost identical to later biblical texts. It proved that sacred scripture had remained astonishingly accurate across millennia. Over time, 11 caves revealed hundreds of scrolls, likely hidden by a Jewish sect called the Essenes during Roman rule. From a shepherd's lucky stumble to museum vaults today, the Dead Sea Scrolls remain one of the greatest archaeological finds of all time. You've seen the stone heads, heard the theories. But what if they weren't just heads and weren't just legends? In 1722, Dutch explorer Jacob Roggeveen landed on a remote island in the South Pacific. It was Easter Sunday, so he named it Easter Island. What he saw was surreal. Massive stone figures, some over 30 feet tall, lined up like silent giants across the land. To the Rapa Nui people, these moai were sacred, symbols of ancestors and power. But to the outside world, they became one of archaeology's biggest puzzles. In the 20th century, researchers like Thor Heyerdahl showed how these statues might have been moved with ropes and pure ingenuity, no machines needed. And when archaeologists began to dig deeper, they made a stunning discovery. The heads were full-bodied figures buried by time. The moai aren't just monuments, they're guardians of a lost civilization, still standing, still watching, still silent. High in the misty Andes, hidden by jungle and perched above a roaring river, a forgotten city waited, untouched for centuries, until one explorer walked straight into history. On July 24, 1911, Yale historian Hiram Bingham, guided by local Quechua villagers, cut through dense forest and uncovered a breathtaking sight. Stone terraces, temples, and tombs, swallowed by greenery but perfectly preserved. He had found Machu Picchu, an ancient Inca city built over 500 years ago, sitting nearly 8,000 feet above sea level. To the outside world, it was a lost city, but to the people of the Andes, it was never lost at all. Bingham's photos and writings sparked global fascination. He called it the Sacred City, and soon Machu Picchu became a symbol of Peru's ancient legacy, not just ruins, A masterpiece, hidden in plain sight. Before pyramids, before Stonehenge, before we even farmed, there was Göbekli Tepe. In 1994, German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt uncovered giant stone pillars on a hilltop in Turkey. Carved with animals and strange symbols, these weren't just stones. They were the remains of the oldest known temple on Earth. Built around 9,500 BCE, long before metal tools or cities, the site challenged everything we thought we knew about early civilization. Schmidt's discovery suggested something radical. Maybe religion came before farming. Göbekli Tepe didn't just push history back, it cracked it wide open. Thousands of life-size soldiers buried underground. No two faces the same, all guarding a tomb untouched for over 2,000 years. In 1974, a farmer near Xi'an struck something strange. A clay face staring back at him from the dirt. Archaeologists soon uncovered one of history's greatest finds. Over 8,000 terracotta warriors, horses and chariots, each handcrafted, each unique, standing in formation. They were guarding the tomb of China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, buried inside an underground kingdom stretching 22 square miles. Why build an army for the afterlife? Because this emperor believed death was just another battlefield. The terracotta army isn't just a burial site. It's a ghost army, frozen in time. A buried staircase, a sealed doorway, and beyond it, gold everywhere. In 1922, after years of digging in Egypt's Valley of the Kings, archaeologist Howard Carter finally struck history. The lost tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun, untouched for over 3,000 years. With Lord Carnarvon by his side, Carter peeked through a small hole and saw treasures that stunned the world. Golden chariots, jeweled daggers, and the iconic solid gold mask of the boy king. Over 5,000 artifacts, perfectly preserved. It was the only nearly intact royal tomb ever found in Egypt. Tutankhamun's tomb wasn't just a discovery, it was a doorway into ancient Egypt's golden age. A king, waiting in silence, finally found. And with that, our journey through time comes to an end. From lost cities to buried empires, each discovery pulled back the curtain on a world long gone, but never truly forgotten. If this trip into the ancient past gave you chills, make sure to like, subscribe, and join us for more mysteries uncovered. And tell us in the comments, which archaeological discovery left you speechless?